Last question. Speaking about values, I know you all have three amazing boys. And I feel like I was here when each one of them was born.
Yeah.
It's not easy. 3 under 7.
Yes.
How did,
Well, the oldest is about to be 6 in May.
So under 7, under 6, under 7. Yeah. Wow. So tell me, like, how do you translating your values, right? Is it something you're teaching them day by day, or you think it's something they would just like naturally imbibe? Like, what's your vision for that in to translate some of these values to your children? Because just like we were talking off camera, like some of these things we're doing is combined from 2 cultures, right? Nigeria, America. So now you're raising children who are born here, right? They are complete Americans. They will tell you. The time is coming when they will tell you, like, Mom, I'm not Nigerian.
Oh my goodness.
So how do you intend to pass these values to them?
So they always say children do more what their parents do than what they say.
What you say.
Right?
Yeah, very important.
So the best way to translate values is to leave out the values. So they have to see that what you say is what you're doing, and that's really the best way.
It's about children passing on values.
Yes. So your children observe you. They listen to you, but then they observe what you do.
Yeah.
So whatever you say, for instance, I try to exemplify anything I say to them to do. Even when it comes to disciplining them, I try not to say I will. This is the discipline you will get if you do this. If I won't follow up with it. Because if you keep saying you will do it, but you never do it, they will know right away. They'll be like, okay, they'll just keep doing whatever. But in terms of, values, if it is like reading, I read in front of them. If it is like something I do like in the middle of the night that I feel like it's, personal development, even if it is like meditation or all that, they come and they see me. Like when it comes to things like reading the Bible, they now pick up because they've observed me doing it, so they start doing that too. And I learned this from my brother who was married a little earlier than us. He told me a story of when he was, he works at night, and then sometimes he gets on the floor because he doesn't want to lie down on the bed, because then he falls asleep. Yeah. So he starts reading on the floor, and his first son comes right next to him and opens the book and starts reading in front of him. And then one time he left and he came back, and the son continued what he was doing, just went to the floor. The son did not know why the dad was doing that, but just saw that the dad was doing that. So that made me start thinking, okay, anything I want to do with my sons, I have to put it in action, and they have to see me doing it. And if I say it, children are very smart, and they will observe you without even thinking about it, and they pick it up. So that's the best way to pass on any value to them.
Yeah, I mean, same thing, you have to show them. You can't just say, like parents that say, okay, go to Sunday school, and they don't see you go to church after that. When they grow up, they're not gonna, they're gonna think church is just for children, not for adults, So same things, I think he's very good at making sure that, like we talked about, our faith is like number one. Like he really lives it out for them so that they can see, even as little as they are. Our oldest son now, they all have Bibles. Even if you can read or not, you have a Bible. So now, during Bible study, we make sure that they're looking into the Bible. It's not when you're older that you start looking into the Bible. You start that habit. Even their cousins, like his brother's oldest son, he's like, 8?
Yeah. And
I'm so impressed. Like in church, he's very like calm, paying attention, just like an adult would. I'm like, I want my sons to be like that. It's not even just in church. It translates to the school or into the world. Being able to pay attention for that long, a lot of things that we do in church translates to the to the outside world, and we shouldn't take that for granted. So,
I agree. And then consistency, right?
Consistency, exactly. Yeah, consistency is key, and not just say it one time.
And no one is perfect, right? No one is perfect, but they just have to. Children have to observe and see that you are putting in effort, and this is who you are, and that just kind of creates their own character. I guess that talks about nature and nurture, but that'll be another,
that'll be another
topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys we've been asking you questions.
Yeah.
Do you have questions for us?
Oh, we didn't. We should have brought some questions.
A lot of questions. Because the questions we talk about, we should have been writing them.
Right. So, I'll let you go while I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, first of all, you people are exemplary, right?
Yeah.
Because I've told her, I've had book topics, right? I don't know where to start. Do you start with an idea and then get the title of the book? But I get titles that this is it's kind of like somebody gives you a topic and say, talk on this. Like it comes in my mind. I have a number of them. But I don't know how to start. But I know it's because of commitment and I have to be consistent and keep writing. So I don't know what came first. Like, let's say your book, the book that you guys wrote. Was it the idea? Or did you get a topic and say, let me talk on this? Because it looks like it's a bunch of stories about your life. So how did that come about?
The title came last. That title, we still argued on it till it went to print. As in, we're like, no, it's too long, no, it's not sure.
And we solicited help, like we kind of put it out and said, which one do you prefer?
I like that title.
Yeah, we had like, in fact, if you go to the manuscript, I think there are like 6 titles. It's like, okay, which one? But it was the idea that came first, right? Because we've always been saying we want to do, something in the marriage ministry. Like we had always known that when you talk about vision, when we first met and we're talking about the future. So then Stanley takes pictures, right? And he had these pictures of what you call composite images. You're putting 2 images together to make a new one. And at that time, I had been doing my psychology training and all that. And there's this huge concept in psychology about reframing, right? So you take something that happened to you before. It's not like you're denying that it happened, but you're making like
thinking about it differently.
Exactly. And so to me, I was like, this composite, this is exactly the physical manifestation of reframing, because you've taken 2 different images and you've made a new image of it. And that's literally what reframing is. To say, these 2 things are real, but I can come and say, you know what? This is how I want to move forward with these 2 incidents. So I said, let's use these images, to kind of create a story around it, relating to us and our own struggles. Yeah, so that's how the thing came. And so obviously Google Drive is your friend, or Google Docs is your friend. Because each person is doing their own thing. You see where, you see like progress, right? I'm adding this, I'm adding this. So
6 a.m. This person logged into right this. Okay, I need to step up and do my own.
Yeah, so that was what came first. Like you said, the title came last. And it was interesting because with the title, obviously we're both pharmacists, so there's that medicine part. And then the pill box, we had picked it, and then one day I'm like, what does pillbox even mean? This is how I do it because of my editing work. Like I'm always looking upwards. The dictionary is like by me. So I'm looking up this pillbox, and I'm like, oh wow, did you know pillbox is actually a defensive term, like in the military? It's like a bunker. Like you're there and you are, watching, taking guard. So I felt, this is so, aside from the medicine part, this is also so crucial from a faith-based perspective. That you are taking watch, that you are like a watchman, right, in that tower, saying, offense. Like you are there playing defensive, right, to say this is not going to come near my dwelling place. So that was it. I think that was what sealed it. I said, if we were even arguing about this before, came over.
That's so like deep, in terms of knowing what the meaning really, like when you actually dig into what the meaning is, it's so telling of what you're trying to convey, right, to the world, and what you want people to also be able to gain from not just reading the book, but also the conversations that you're having, right? Yeah. Because we've talked about like really marriage is
hard.
It's not only hard, but there's a war against marriage. Yeah. And until we start fighting back, the devil will continue taking them. So we really have to play defensive or offensive. I don't know, whichever you want to whichever you want to
Offensive.
Yes, the
right.
best
Well,
form.
you don't want to be defensive because then they've already attacked, right?
Yeah,
You
but
want
you are
to-
there looking to say, before this thing comes, I'll
yeah,
get you first.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but in soccer and football, we say the best form of defense is offense.
Offense.
right. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So before
Yeah,
the
so-
attack actually comes, you want to make sure that things are,
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll say, if you have the title, you can then build structure for the title. Nothing. There's no.
It's not hard. It's not
Hard or
fixed.
fast, right?
Because
Some people
after
get
a
the
while,
title
it will
and they
still
know this
merge.
is it.
Okay.
Because I believe in divine, like, you know how you say, I know this, right?
Yeah.
I just got this, like,
Yeah.
inspiration. Yes, inspiration. I believe in that a lot. So if the titles are your inspiration, hold on to them. It may change, right? When you begin to flesh out the content, it may change. But imagine that that's the inspiration that led to the content. So
Right.
you don't like throw anything away in that sense. So
yeah.
So you had a question for us?
So my question, let me see. I was so engrossed in the conversation, but I mean, in terms of, I guess, your marriage, I know you've like said a lot of things in the book, but is there any one thing that you would want to let couples that are, still coming up? You've been married for how long now?
14, going on 14. Yeah.
So you're mid, right?
Yeah, mid. Mid.
So I mean, I think we've come a long way, right? But like for couples that are just getting married, right? A lot of people don't know what they're getting into. Sometimes they're like get into marriage because there's pressure, external pressures, or getting married because they feel like they have to, or things like that. So like, what are the messages you want to give those people that are just starting off?
So I have an illustration that I would actually saw it in the book, this guy's book, Take Your Marriage Back. And the guy starts by saying that, imagine that all marriages, you're starting out upstream on the Mississippi River. If you don't do anything, you're going to go south. But so you need to, if you want to stay up north, you need to paddle. It's, how do you say that? It's not a passive sport.
You're going against the current.
Yeah, but what we see, Hollywood, the books, the novels, is that once you marry, happily ever after, and you stop. So that's the one thing that at least I would like to share with people. You have to keep paddling. Kids come, more paddling. Careers change, more paddling. Taking care of grown-up parents, more paddling. But the idea we have is that I found the right person, checkmate, there's nothing else to do. Is at least that's the mindset I had to change.
So marriage is actually the easiest part.
Yes,
Getting
the
married.
wedding. Yep, getting
the
married.
wedding.
Yep, the wedding is actually the easiest.
And I think
part.
a lot of I don't know if men, but from a women perspective, right? Like I see a lot of women looking forward and planning, putting so much effort into that day, right? Even like when we got married, right? Our church is very conservative, so like down to like the dress I had to wear, it was very conservative, and people were like, "Oh, why is she wearing that?" But of course, the reception was I wore what I really wanted to wear, But like my mindset, even at that point, I'm like, the wedding is just for you guys are gonna eat rice and go home.
Everything will be left for
that will be left. So I'm not even thinking about this day. I'm thinking about what is our future, what is our life going to be after this day, So I think if people think more about the actual marriage, not the wedding, things will go a lot better.
And
right?
I'll tell you also the situations. I'll give you an example. Like, so before our first child was born, in the book we said we had waited, right? So that was another pressure, like, oh, children. But when, I got pregnant and the boy was coming, again, I think it's just me and this pragmatic mindset. I already was like, okay, once this child comes, our life is not going to be the same again. So what are the areas that I need to adjust? Like, I actively thought about that.
Right. He's like, we'll figure it out.
We'll cross that bridge. We'll get to that bridge.
Then she signed up for pregnancy class.
Yep, I said we're going.
Why do I have to go for pregnancy?
Same thing. I'm like,
for pregnancy, but at the class I was like, wow.
Yes, very helpful.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, when the child was born, because I had prepared my mind, like this thing you're saying, right? It was hard, but it was like it was. It's the mindset of, okay, this is what you signed up for. So you have to like just grit, just pull up the energy and everything to do it. brother, took a while.
This was not
Yeah.
what I signed up for at the beginning, but since it's here now, let's catch up.
Yeah. So, you know, so it was that idea. And so he came back to me to say, how did you adjust so quickly? I said, but what did you think was going to happen?
Right.
The child changes your life.
Oh,
like,
everything.
this, you know, to me, I said, your life is not going to be the same again. Like, because you have brought another human into the world.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're now going to be associated with. Yeah. So talking about, you know, the children where I was before, that people, you kind of have to be prepared for those changes. Now, speaking about children, which we really emphasized on in our book with the cradling, some people are looking, you know, they want to have the children, they can't have it, like, for whatever reason, right? And so you're going through another season of life, right? Because you're like, I'm longing for this child, I don't have it, which is another time to be like this, right? Because it's not one person's problem. Like, you have to now be like oar to say, how do we, you know, handle this situation, right? But unfortunately, we come from a culture where it's normally the woman's issue if you don't have children and all that. And so I feel like those are all the kinds of things that people need to be aware of, that all of this could be challenges, right? And you don't just, you have to kind of prepare mentally, spiritually, and everything for whichever season you're in, right? As opposed to, you know, this idea of people saying, why is it happening to me? Like, you know, why, like, those things don't let you move forward, right? So that's kind of...
I mean, we had similar challenges like that. Even like, we never thought, we thought when we're ready to have kids, like, it'll just come. Like, you see teenagers getting pregnant, they don't want to be pregnant. You're like, it should be so easy, right?
Yeah,
so like, before our first child, like, we had miscarriages, right?
Oh,
and
wow.
we were like, this is crazy. And we actually, you know, in faith, we became closer, you know, because that kind of bonded us even more. Because, you know, for him, he's not, you know, of the mindset where it's like, oh, this is your problem. You know, he recognized that maybe this is a spiritual battle that we need to battle together.
Yeah.
You know, so that brought us so much closer. I feel like that's a history that we have that we like, okay, we fought through this spiritually, you know, in faith together. So, I mean, those are part of the things that, you know, we reflect on and are so grateful. Now we have our 3 boys, you know, after the fact. But there are some couples that are, you know, looking for children and, you know, it's not coming, or, you know, whatever the case may be, years down the line, and that kind of becomes like
a wedge,
you know, a wedge between them, rather than looking at it in a different, you know, reframing, like you said, talk about reframing, like, okay, is this really like the problem, or do we need to fight this together, you know, not fighting against each other regarding this.
It's easier said than done, but it's possible. That's the thing, it's possible. Yes,
I love it. That's a very good way to end the question, you know, session side. But you had one last thing you were going to ask, Uzo.
Yeah, so I see this emblem on your
your shirts.
What's that about? As in, who...
Yeah, so this is it's a symbol of peace, basically. It's on it is written "Sacred Peace," and it has a rising sun at the bottom of it. We really believe that happiness starts from within. So, for instance, I can quote this off heart because I've known it since childhood, but it's actually a quote that I grew up with. It says, if there is right in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. If there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the home. If there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. And then if there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. The mistake we make sometimes is we want to fix the external problems, not the root cause. But everything starts from the individual. And if we can start looking inward and from there work outward, then peace in the world will be possible. But until we start looking at not how perfect we are, but our imperfections and how this rising sun has to come from within, then it will be hard to build a better world. So the family is very important because it's the individual as a dyad, you know, that's from there comes the nation. So that's in a nutshell, but not quite. But lack of time.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, so where can people reach you? How, if someone said they want to reach Uzo and Chidima, what should we tell them?
Go through you.
Okay, you got my number. You had her go through us. I love it. That's like Levels.
That's perfect. It's like having like the president link you up, but
go through my secretary.
he's too big for secretary. That's the whole point.
But yeah, I mean. Yeah. We probably have a lot of mutual friends and even with Uzo as well. But if we don't have like any like LLC or anything, you know, but they can always reach you, and we can always give out
in case someone had a question.
Personal email. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to put in a worldwide.
I know, right? Yeah, we'll just transfer the questions over to you. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
These are our first live on the couch.
We're right here. The couch is real.
Right?
It's a real great couch.
Oh, and there's going to be rice afterwards.
Oh yeah.
So, can't wait. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you like this, subscribe, share. It's a blessing, and we'll see you guys
next week.
Next week.
Bye.